Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Music of the Week. I'm totally keeping that slightly awkward intro in because I got to pet my kitty. Not really much preamble to go through for this one. We have about 5 albums to go through that I listened to last weekend and have graded since in Discord. So now I'm going to read out the grades, well, not the full thing, and just go through the albums. So let's go. We begin with one I was never really expecting to cover, an artist I was never expecting to cover, Post Malone with his newest album, Austin. Post Malone is an artist I'm familiar with. I've listened to a few of his songs. I believe one of them is on the 2K23 soundtrack to BW 2K23, or is it 2K22? Either way, he's got a good song on that. I'm giving this one the highest grade of the episode, which is only a B+. It was probably my favourite album of the last weekend. I know, only a B+ is the highest. It was my favourite album of the last weekend, though. It is not like, from what I understand, what Post Malone usually does. It's mostly just him doing a bit of, like, pop rock, synth, alternative guitar noodling. Really, there's really nice production. He comes off as a very honest songwriter for the most part. I've always liked how he performs, because he always has, like, this sort of vibey energy, which I think really works for his style as well. I like his guitar work, he's a pretty solid guitarist. There is some really good instrumentation besides that. Like, it's sort of buried in the mix of the production. There is some bass, there is some drum work, but it's mostly just some nice synth work and acoustic guitar stuff. And yeah, Post himself is, well, Austin, because that's his real name, is a good singer, writes some nice things about anxiety and love and so on, coming off as a very honest man in a way. And structurally wise, not bad. 51 minutes in length. I think it's almost 52. There's like 17 songs on it. It is a fairly long album, but it's not a slog by any means. It's just a really nice, summery, vibe album, so I can't really think of anything else to say except for that, but I would recommend it. Next we have Scarlxrd with his newest album, Made in Hell. Scarlxrd is an artist I have covered before, and also a rapper. He leans more into the trap metal, sort of rap rock circles. I think I gave his last album a B+. This one gets a B. I did quite like it. However, it's a very short album. There's only 9 songs. I don't even think it reaches half an hour. And the flow overall is fairly repetitive. However, Scar himself is a really good songwriter. He writes from a really sort of dark place, but I think that works for the most part, and I do sort of give him some points because he's a Midlands lad. Which I didn't really realise the last time I covered his music. I didn't know he was from the Midlands, but yeah, props to that. Really good songwriting for the most part. He is a really nice performer. He's got a really distinct flow and a really nice aggression to his voice, which he does employ in full force, which I do like. It is a style that fits him quite well. Production-wise, it is very harshly produced and very rough around the edges, but I think that's the entire point. Structurally-wise, there is quite a lot of songs. Well, actually, no. There's quite a lot of flow to the limited number of songs. I think it's the fewest songs I've covered this past weekend. Just really solid trap metal rap rock stuff from a guy who does it quite well. This is like his 15th album or something too. He's not even 30 yet. I think the dude just needs a break. I think he's put like at least 1 album per year since he dropped his first full-length debut studio album in 2016. So I wouldn't be upset if he took a bit of a break, but I do appreciate the consistent work. So this is good and consistent shit. I also like the themes of fame, mental health, and breakups. So yeah, really good subject matter too. Next we have Sevendust and their newest album, Truthkiller. Sevendust is an album. Sevendust is a band I've gone over a fair few times before. I think I've listened to all their stuff since Blackout the Sun back in 2013. And it's a Sevendust album. It gets a B. I liked it. There was really good hard rock alternative metal stuff. Lejeune Witherspoon is still a great singer. There's not as much Morgan Rose screaming on this one, which I think is a bit of a downgrade compared to previous albums because he's really good at that. But Lejeune Witherspoon still has an amazing voice, and he's 50. He's going to be 51 soon, but the dude can still kill it on the mic. I like the guitar work. I think the production it can be a little bit overglossy, but it does help with the melody quite nicely. I like, again, the lyrical themes. There's nice themes about anxiety and just trying to overcome the past. And there's good performances, production is nice, structurally wise it's not a whole lot screaming. I think there's roughly about 12 songs, and while a fair few of them are long, I do wish that the band went in a little bit more on occasion, but it does have a nice melodic focus, and I like it when that's actually the entire point. So it's a Sevendust album. It's good, the riffs are good, guitar solos, I wish there were a few more of them, but it's good. That's all you need. It's good. Sevendust is good. Next we have Signs of the Swarm and their newest album, Amongst the Low and Empty. Now this is a band I have covered before as well. I think their last album came in 2020 or 2021. It was called Absolvia, and I like that significantly more than I like this one. I'm giving this one a B. I still think it's a really solid bit of deathcore. It's the Signs of the Sworn album. It's good. There is solid lyrical themes of like apocalypse and anti-religion, and some themes of like betrayal there here and there as well. The lead vocalist does a really great job. I think one thing that does set the album back is the fact that the drummer had to take up guitar duties because the band had, I think their guitarist left them or something. I don't know the full thing, but obviously like it'll be in text form by this point. But yeah, that might have been something that held them back, because the guitar didn't sound like it did on their last one. I think that's part of the reason why, because they didn't really have a guitarist to do it, but they made do with what they could. They progressed, and they made a pretty good album, I would say. I've already gone over the lyrical themes. Performances were really good, especially the Paul Double Duty lead singer does a great job too. Production-wise, now it was produced by Josh Schroeder. It was released on Century Media, and I think Signs of the Swarm were better off on Unique Leader, because that's the label Absolvia came out on, and Absolvia, is really good. I think Unique Leader is just a better label, but Josh Schroeder is a good performer. He tries to get as much out of the mix as he can. Structurally wise, again, it is got tiny dragging problems, but they're not anything major, and it does build up to some really nice things when it wants to, which it does more often than not. And I've already gone over the lyrics. Instrumentally, it does have its solid moments as well, with some really nice breakdowns here and there, some really, really good drum work. It's Signs of the Swarm. It's a good album. You should go listen to it. And finally, we have Tech-N9ne with his newest album, Bliss. Now, I think this was supposed to come out 2 weeks ago, but was delayed to physical shipping to the past weekend, which was July 28th. So, I did have to sort of delay listening to it, because the album itself was slightly delayed. I'm giving this one the lowest grade of the episode, though, which is a C. Now, don't get me wrong, I respect Tech-N9ne's ability. This is like his 24th album. He's been around a fucking long time. This is my first full Tech album. I've heard about him. I've heard him on a couple of songs. Obviously, people well know him for the song that he did with like The Rock and Joey Cool and King Iso, who was the best performer on that song, by the way, was King Iso, not The Rock. Joey Cool was great too. Tech was great. King Iso was fantastic. The Rock was there. No, he did a pretty good job, I will say. But, yeah, Tech-N9ne is usually known for his fast style, and I wanted a bit more of that. I think what hurts the album a lot is kind of repetitive production choices, and it's a fucking slog. There's like 25 songs, and it's an hour and 60 minutes, plus 18 seconds if you want to get pedantic, and it does not need to be this long. Half the song should have been taken out. There's not really any interesting concepts. There's songs about sex, there's songs about how well-odd Tech-N9ne is, there's stuff about Kansas City, because he has a huge love for Kansas City. That comes up a lot in his music. The guest stars are alright. Some of them work, not all of them work. They're like, it's a very 50-50 thing with the guest spots. Beats wise, there's some pretty nicely done stuff, and I think production wise it can be good if you can look past the blurred lines. I don't know, I feel like it's a bit too clean, it's a bit too long, and it was absolute, it wasn't that horrible to listen to, but like I didn't really feel anything from it, and I feel like it should have cut off at an early point. But yeah, it's the lowest grade of the episode. I think, sort of repetitive themes, and Tech-N9ne not going in as much as I'd like him to, but some decent guest spots, and Tech-N9ne, when he can show up, he does. And I like some of the beats, so yeah. And that'll about do it for this one. I may as well do the rankings thing now, and it basically goes from, like, in reverse chronological order. So at the bottom would be Tech-N9ne with Bliss, then above that would be Signs of the Swarm with Amongst the Low and Empty, Sevendust with Truth Killer, Scarlet with Made in Hell, and Post Malone with Austin. That's kind of how it would go. No A-graded albums, but, as always, don't take my opinion as gospel. Go and listen to all these yourself, formulate your own opinion. You might like some of these more than I did, you might have hated them more than I did, but you know what, it's fine, it's alright, it's all good. Next thing you'll see will be tomorrow. There'll be a new reaction video. I think it's going to be the new Low Lives song. Not Low Lives, Low Lives. I did have to double check. It is Low Lives. And, well, I say new song came out in February. And then tomorrow night should be the return show of PPW vs APW as we head up to probably one of my favourite pay-per-view formats with the Golden Path Tournament at Violent Delights. That's going to be a lot of fun. going to be a grind, but it's going to be a very fucking fun grind. So I'll see you all tomorrow night. And I really need to get a card sorted with my booking cancel. But yeah, so for that, as always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye bye.